should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Happy Monday! Welcome to TMW Online, the Melanated Way. I'm Linda. That is Abby. We are covering all things 90 Day to Single Life, Season 5, Episode 8, The Act of Being Sus. Overall thoughts, Abby?
This title is perfect to commemorate the return of Debbie.
That's it. Yes. Yes, Debbie, yes. And Courtney, I'm just so proud of you, girl. I'm so proud of you. Hey, Rodella. All right, so let's just jump in because it's Colt, it's Courtney, it's Debbie, it's Tony, her boyfriend, Canadian boyfriend, and Jane and Fred, Courtney's parents. It's a whole shebang of people. So Colt's living at the motel because, you know, Courtney kicked him out because he's a lying, cheating, lazy, no good for nothing piece of, I mean, she didn't say all that stuff, but all those things are true. So he called his mama, who's living in Vancouver, Canada, where I'm from. And she's actually in the city right next door to where my whole family is. So I just think it's crazy that I've never run into her. A lot of people run into her because she's out and about all the time. But calls his mama and says, Courtney broke up with me. I'm living in this hotel. So, of course, Debbie comes running, right? And not so much running because we see her in a little scooter thing. So there must be some like balance issues that we have not heard about because, you know, she hasn't been on her TV in quite some time. But so she comes down to Florida with Tony, and I just want to remind you guys that Colt can walk. He's not paralyzed and his legs are not broken. And if I was a physiotherapist, I would probably say instead of just sitting down on your butt all day and wheeling yourself around, you should be walking because it's like atrophy. It's like you in a hospital bed. If you don't walk around, you're not going to, your body like disintegrates from the inside. You need to walk around and rebuild up those muscles. But no, Colt wants to play victim, and his broken legs that are not broken anymore. Yes, he has got the stitches, but he'd rather just be in a wheelchair and have everyone cater to his every needs. And that's physically and emotionally as well, you guys. Like he just wants to be babied. And that's why he called his mom, so that she could baby him and fix all his stupid baby messes because he doesn't act like a man. Hey, Silver Lining. So she comes down from Vancouver to check on him. Reminds her that Courtney broke up with him. I thought it was really funny, Abby, that she thought that that motel, because it is a motel, was really nice. I was like,
I mean, let's remember where they came from. Let's just remember where they came from.
Hey, Judy. Yes. So Debbie and Tony live in Port Coquitlam. And you know where I live, Judy. So you know that that's like right down the street. So he tells Debbie, hey, Courtney broke up with me, but I still love her. And I was like, I am shaking my head at the nonsense. You still love her for what? You miss your full-time nurse. You miss the free rent. You miss the free food. You miss her mama not only cooking for you, but like cleaning your drawers. That's what you miss. Now you have to pay some, I don't know, $50 at some shitty motel and no one's babying you. That's what you miss.
Right. It's a good time for somebody to ask him, what does love mean to you?
That part. But Abby, do you think he would even know what the answer is? Do you even
I don't think he would. And I think that's why it would be interesting to know in his mind, what do you think it is? Like, because he says it, but like, do you remember? Well, I don't know if you watched the Kardashians, but Khloe said something very smart one time. She, after Tristan cheated on her multiple times, she said he does love me in the way that he defines it.
Mm,
And I thought that was very right. Like, okay, what does it mean to Tristan? What does it mean to Colt?
that's a good
They
question.
do go in the same category.
Maybe we should ask him, because I don't think he knows what love is, because he literally has cheated on every woman. And mind you, they've all been beautiful. He's cheated on every single woman that he's ever been with that we know of on the
Hmm.
show. 4 different women, cheated on each of them, used them. They had to be his mama in all episodes, in all seasons. So when he tells Debbie that he still loves Courtney, I was just shaking my head, because he literally said because she's like, well, then let's just fix this. It could be fixable. And then he tells her he cheated from her house. Because Tony's like, well, that was before, right? You were sending your naked boudoir photos before you got with her. Oh, no, I was doing it from the house that I was living rent free from. Okay. The other thing that I thought was interesting is I don't have kids, but I would tell you, just growing up in a strict African family, your parent is your parent. You, as an adult, you can be friends, but they're not your bro, and they will always be your parent. And for me, so when Colt was like, oh, Debbie's more like my bro, and that's why he talks to her the way he talks to her, I was like, well, that's part of the problem. There's no respect there, and you don't respect your mom, and that's the ultimate woman in your life. You think she's like
Hmm.
a bro, and you can talk all crazy to her, and that's why you treat women so terribly. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when Courtney said that Debbie's an enabler, I was like, you bravo, girl, because that's exactly what's going on here. So instead of talking to your son about how that's wrong, how you used her, you stayed for free, they took you in, you abused their hospitality, then you cheated, and then you lied to her face, and then you tried to manipulate her to come back because you had nowhere to go. You don't talk to your son about any of those things. Instead, you say, well, let me go talk to her and let me make her realize how you feel about her, and then she'll take you back.
Hmm.
Because in my mind, I was like, Debbie's done with her son. Do you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't want to have to be the primary caregiver anymore, because she wants to be with her man. She's in her golden years. She wants to chill. She doesn't have to continue to, wipe this dude's diapers. So she wants Courtney to be there. But yet she doesn't want to correct his poor behavior. What are your thoughts, Abby?
So, okay, I have to take a little detour. It's really important, I think, that when you're a parent, that you let your children know when you're hurt and when you're disappointed. You don't have to let them into every single aspect of your life, but giving people that feedback of when they've hurt you or when they've hurt somebody else is very important for their development from, young years, middle school, high school, all throughout. Because I do think that when you don't tell your children when you've been hurt, that they aren't able to then go into their own relationships with their friends, romantic relationships, and then be, a good partner. And I'm going to give you an example. My ex-husband had something major happen when he was younger to his mother. And when I asked him how she reacted to it, he said she went into her bedroom, she cried a little bit, and she came out, and they never talked about it. She never talked about it with her kids, with her husband, anything. And so, now we were in a pattern, not now, but like when we were married, we were in a pattern of him doing something repeatedly that was hurtful to me. And when his mom called me to try and make me forgive him, I said, you know what? She said to me, you being angry is not helping anyone. That's what she said to me. You being angry is not helping anyone. And what I said to her was, maybe if you had got angry when he was a little boy, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yep.
And I really do think it's important. There's this psychiatrist that I watch sometimes, or psychologist, I get them mixed up, you guys. And he says that when you show someone that you're sad, or when you show someone that you're disappointed, when you allow them to see your emotions, that's you making a bid for attention, or a bid for affection, or a bid for correction. So I think it's really important for kids' development to know that and to be told when they're wrong. She doesn't even tell him, you're wrong for your behavior with Courtney. She goes immediately into, how can I fix this? I'm
Yeah,
not
and
saying she needs to like turn him over and beat his butt, but like there is no correction whatsoever.
exactly. And I also think it's really important, you guys, that especially as moms and sons have a very different relationship than moms and daughters. And moms, you have to correct those sons' behavior because that's the behavior that they're going to go out in the world in and deal with other females. So if you don't correct their behavior as they're growing up, that's the same behavior that they're going to just continue to think is okay because no one's corrected them, especially the ultimate woman in their life, which is their mom. So Silver Lining says Colt equals user plus loser plus abuser, and Debbie created that monster.
Mm-hmm. I believe it. I believe it. Also, remember Debbie said that whenever her husband passed away, Colt's father, that she depended on Colt in a way to like be her partner, to be her buddy. Like, that's not okay. Do not parentify your children. Do not make your children have to be an adult in their home.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time on our show, you guys. You know, single women, you have to stop making your sons the head of the household, the man of the house, the parent, the adult. Growing up, it's a bad look, and it
Mm-hmm.
grow out of that, and then you create problems in their relationships with their partners moving forward. So we got to stop doing all of that. So Debbie and Tony drive to Courtney's house. And this was so cute to me. This is my favorite part of the episode. So you see Fred and Jane, who you can tell are just like wholesome, churchy, old school parents. And they're sitting and they're doing the camera. And Fred, the dad, is like, I've lost all respect for Colt. And then Jane in her little pearls Florida shortcut says, yes, he totally effed up in his own nest in that type of voice and smiled, looked over her husband like, ooh, I said a cuss word. I was like, oh, that little church lady. And then Fred's like, yeah, she's serious because she never cusses. Died of laughter. It just tickled me. So Debbie and Tony come in, and Debbie basically is talking for her son, says Colt wants to apologize. Colt realizes he made a big mistake. Colt wants to rectify the situation, and Colt really knows everything you've done for him. No, Debbie, that's all you. You made that all up. Colt never said any of those things. You want to rectify it because you don't want to be living in the motel, and you don't want to, like I said, change his diapers anymore. You want someone to be taking care of the big baby that you have. He's 39 years old. Y'all, 40. Just call him 40. Look at how he's living his life. Okay, he won't even walk. He won't walk. The amount of laziness is just beyond me. He won't walk. He can walk. He won't walk. He doesn't work. He's living in a motel. The last 3 months, he's sponged off of Courtney and her family. Before that, he let Vanessa, his ex-wife, take care of him for a few years. Didn't work. Before that, oh my goodness, you guys, just stop it. Just stop it. When does he take responsibility for himself? At 50, 60, 70? I mean, at least at 70, you can put him in a nursing home and he'll fit right. So Courtney's not buying it. Courtney's like, you know what? Debbie's an enabler. I don't even think she believes the words that are coming out of her mouth about her own son. So she says to Debbie, I'll never trust him again. And no, we can't work this out. And Debbie's like, are you sure we can't work this? She's like, absolutely not. She stood firm in her belief. And her parents were really proud of her. Her parents were like, yeah, we've seen her in this situation before. and we don't want this for her at all. And he took advantage of our hospitality. So we also too feel betrayed by all of this because, you know, we took a perfect stranger into our home and look what he did under our own roof where he was living and eating for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, Courtney, girl, proud of you, proud of you, proud of you. She said, in no world I'd ever get back with Colt. Basically, I was his full-time nurse for this lying, cheating piece of shit. That's what she said. And I was like, you know what? Bravo, Courtney. Bravo. Silver Lining says, Debbie never held him accountable, put him on a pedestal, and was cutting his meat when we met him. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I forgot that too. Exactly. Exactly.
So, do you want to add anything to their segment?
No, keep it up, Courtney. Don't let him weasel his way back in.
And for what? What are you gaining out of it? He can't even, like, he's this. Joop, joop. Like, what? You're not even getting anything out of it. There's no pleasure there in any shape, way, or form. So just, we're done with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Your thoughts on Sophie and Pedro?
Okay, this one is so hard for me because I don't want it to work. I don't want them to work out. But Pedro is wrong.
Yeah, Pedro's wrong. He's 100% wrong, and he's delusional. He's delusional, and I don't really understand what the dynamic there is, but here we are. So it opens with Nicole saying that Sophie is acting crazy, and I fell out, you guys. I laughed so hard because are you serious? You are sitting with you and your crazy mama are sitting there saying that Sophie's the crazy one when you created all this drama from the jump. Mama said that she should be sleeping with the son and she should be tasting the banana, all this stuff. What? That's the first impression. That's the first thing you're saying to this woman that you just met? No, I don't think Sophie's the crazy one in this situation. Not in this situation. Is Sophie problematic in this season? Absolutely. But in this situation, she's not the crazy one. So Sophie thinks that the relationship between Pedro and his sister and mom is not normal. And I agree 100%. And she goes on to say that they are blocking Pedro and his relationships. And I agree 100%. And I don't see how Pedro doesn't see that. Every woman that you bring to your family can't be the crazy one. Every single woman that you bring to your family starts a fight with your family. I think you should probably look at what the common denominator is. If it's all these different random women that don't know each other, that didn't grow up in the same circumstances, one's a foreigner, she's not even American, you're a foreigner, you come to the DR and the two crazy women in your life are fighting with all of them, I think you're missing the point, friend. So
he actually says that he does realize his mom and his sister are crazy. He will recognize that. What he's not doing is he thinks that his partner should just have to deal with it. He's unable to take that information and say, my partner should also be respected.
I agree with you to a point, but I do think that when he thinks crazy and his mom and his sister, he doesn't think crazy in a detrimental way. He thinks crazy as in, oh, they can be unhinged and uncontrollable sometimes, but I control them like that, but not in a way where he needs to stand up and say, hey, this behavior is not right and you have to stop doing it. I don't think in that way he said it.
I agree. Actually, yeah, I agree.
So Sophie's like, if I date Pedro, then that's going to be my in-law and that's going to be my sister. And I don't know if I want that in my life. And I can't blame her for saying that because who would want that? Fighting all the time. And she's like, and then I think it was inappropriate that his mom asked, why I haven't effed her son yet. And if you had a piece of the banana, then you would want to be with him more. And there would be no like, oh, let's take things slow. I thought that whole conversation was inappropriate and it would make me feel uncomfortable. And live chat, and especially Abby first, what do you guys think? If you were dating someone and your partner's parent said, hey, the reason why you're like wishy-washy or not trying to be committed is because you haven't slept with my child yet. how would you feel?
I don't want to have any sex related conversations with in laws. And I especially don't want to be told that the reason I can't make up my mind, as if I'm not a person intelligent and capable of having my own brain, is because I need to have some D. Like you've insulted me in so many ways in that phrase.
100%. 100% agree with you, Abby. 100%. Ditto. So Pedro goes over to talk to his sister and his mom. Um, Nicole blames Sophie and says, no, it's all Sophie's fault. Sophie's the one that said, F your mama. And he just absolutely takes everything she just said verbatim and says, yeah, okay, and turns around without having the full picture of things, because that is absolutely not what happened. We all saw it with our own eyes. Turns around to go and berate Sophie, and then also to ask her to leave because now Nicole wants them to leave her party. And by them, I mean Sophie and what's her face?
Julia.
Okay, Pedro. So again, you're not really seeing the problem, and the problem is your sister and your mom. So he goes back to tell Sophie to leave, and then meanwhile, Lydia and Nicole are like, oh yeah, we don't think that Sophie's the woman for Pedro. Because Nicole thinks that Sophie said F your mom when really she said your effing mom is grilling me on things that are none of her business. So two separate things where I agree with Sophie that it was probably lost in translation. They heard the F word, they heard mom and put it together, and now they're offended, especially Nicole, who she speaks English, but it's not her first language and she doesn't speak it very well. She's just making stuff up because you know what? I've said this with Chantel days, and I'll say it again here. She hates beautiful women. Her and her mom hate beautiful women. They feel intimidated. They're mean girls, and they attack those girls because of whatever insecurities they have. We already know that Nicole can't keep a man. She can talk all she wants, and she gets that from her mama, who was never anyone's bride. She was always the side chick. The two of them are products of the side chick. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But now you're chasing all these women away out of Pedro's life. I don't understand it. I think maybe you should reflect on yourself and reflect on your past traumas and heal those, and don't take it out on other women.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the part that totally pissed me off. So he escorts Sophie out of the building and says to us, the audience, that he thought that Sophie was different than Chantel, but he was wrong. And I was like, what? Wait, what? You're blaming Chantel and Sophie over your mom and your sister in this situation? We all know that it wasn't Chantel that was the problem. We know her family, we know all the things, but we now see the history, because guess what? You have a totally different woman, totally different situation, but same outcome. Common denominator, Abby, is
His family.
His family. So it's the next day. Pedro's feeling like trash. I think he's had a little bit of time to, contemplate everything that happened the night before. He doesn't want the fighting. He feels frustrated. And then here's where he had a come to Jesus moment and said, hey, I know my family destroyed everything he's built with Sophie so far. And he's having a flashback about Chantel. But his flashback is outrageous to me, Abby, because he says verbatim, Chantel was so toxic to his family, and the relationship couldn't survive that. He thought Sophie would be better. Excuse me? I'm sorry, excuse me? You thought what? So you're still blaming Chantel, and you're still blaming Sophie, and no
Yeah.
blame, no blame. You know your family's the toxic situation, but no blame to your family.
Hmm. I mean, he has no ability to introspect and use deductive reasoning, which is par for the Trump supporter course.
He knocks on Sophie's door to her hotel room. And she comes out. They're having a discussion. She's like, your sister and your mom are crazy. But he still blames her. He still blames her for saying F my mom when that's not what happened. And she explains again, that's not what happened. This is what I said. This is not what I said. And part of her is turned off a little bit that he's not standing up for her because he doesn't see it. What we all see, where insert Chantel, insert Sophie, different people, but same situation. The common denominator is who? Your mom and your sister. He refuses to see it. And I get that's your family. You're gonna have blinders on, but at some point, you have to recognize the common denominator, right? And I put him in there as well because he has these blinders on and he doesn't stand up for his woman. He didn't stand up for Chantel any of the times, and he's repeating that same behavior. So best believe if Sophie went further, she would absolutely be in the same situation because it started off bad, and Lydia and Nicole will never change because they don't see what they're doing as wrong. And also,
Hmm.
Pedro's their breadwinner. Pedro is the man of the house. So that's why they're overly involved. It's the same situation that we were talking about, we continue to talk about, where in a lot of single parent households, you have this young kid that's the boy, and all of a sudden he's the man of the household for all the women in the house. That's not going to change. It's not going to change. So she's turned off by the fact that he doesn't stand up for her, and he says, well, in the Dominican Republic, mums are holy. What did you think of that, Abby?
I mean, I don't really know. I don't know if that's him alone or if that really is the country, but if that's true, then that's why he's having a difficult time seeing his mom being fallible, no matter how horrible her behavior is. And you know what? He does think it's true. I don't know if it's cultural, but he definitely thinks it's true because remember when he was struggling to connect with his father and his mom was refusing to give him answers about certain things, he just got upset and went away. He refused to question her further. He refused to really get confrontational with her. So I think that's true. I think that he really doesn't feel like she can make a mistake, that she should have to apologize, that she can do something wrong.
And that's why when Sophie said your family's going to push any person that you try to be with out of your life always, I agree with her 100%. If you think that your mom is holier than thou and can do no wrong, then what chances any person have up against them?
Right. And the thing that Sophie is failing to realize, she's going back and forth with Pedro about, you didn't stick up for me. Girl, he laughed. When his mom made that comment about the banana, he laughed. He didn't think there was anything wrong with it. So, you're not even yoked. I don't know how else to say it in that way. So just cut your losses and walk away.
He goes on to say that he wants to be there for her and he apologizes for his family's behavior. But the damage has been done. She wants to step back a little bit. It's too much drama for her. She wants to make sure that if she moves forward with Pedro, that she knows that this is the package that he comes with. And she's not sure that that's what she wants in her life. She's already had enough drama in her ex relationship, her ex marriage. But she still likes him. She still wants to get to know him, but she wants to move slower. Now, she's been saying that from the beginning. And women, I just really need you to listen to your gut instinct. If your gut keeps telling you no, slow down, no, slow down, then maybe that's not the relationship for you. You know, maybe just because you think someone's hot doesn't mean you have to be with them. If, like Abby said, you're not equally yoked, then you don't have to be with them. If someone's disrespecting you, you don't have to be with them. I'm just so, listen, we're in 2026 and femicide is real. Every morning when I wake up, there's some new man doing some nonsense that has totally come unhinged. His little fragile ego has taken it out on some poor, unsuspecting woman. And I'm getting tired of it. And I'm just saying, like, as women, you don't have to be in a relationship with the low-hanging fruit just to say you're in a relationship, because it never turns out well. It just doesn't. So, like, listen to your gut instinct. You know, Abby said something like, enjoy your friends, enjoy your girlfriends. They're the ones that are your biggest supporters and cheerleaders. And guess what? In any other relationship, they're going to be there for you. And they're going to support you and they're going to love on you. And if you happen to be in a wonderful, loving, healthy, happy relationship, that's awesome. I'm talking about the low-hanging fruit, because what we're not about to do is continue this little femicide BS, taking on low vibrational, no effort, low effort men. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, I know you guys like it when I share, so I'll share a little thing. It'll be very vague, but there's a major thing that was going on where I was, and this person has been courting me for like a year, right? Just all the fancy words, all the fancy I want it. But when this thing came when it came time for this thing, all I needed was the plan, the time, the location, and what you've done. And zip zero. All of a sudden silent. But then the day of, you want to be scrambling for no, I'm good. You know what? You had a whole year to get your shit together and you did zero, but then you want to scramble, but also send me all these sexual innuendos, because really you just trying to F me. That's what it was. And you thought that you could do 0.0 work and I would be like, oh my gosh, because you're no. Zero effort gets zero rewards. Period. Follow your gut. That's all I always say. Follow your gut. Your gut knows when someone is trash. And instead of like fighting for it, instead of like putting up with it, you know, go take yourself out for a nice lunch. Have some matcha. That's all I got for these fools. Anything else you want to add?
No, we're ready to move on.
Anja and Tony. Overall thoughts, Abby? Waiting on you.
My overall thought, okay, like they don't look good together as a couple, but that's neither here nor there. I think that Tony is being weird, and her friend is also being weird.
I'd like to know what type of doctor Tony is, because he gives me like slob vibes, and I'm just curious what doctor he is. Like, either he's I don't know. He gives me slob vibes, and I've never met a doctor who's just like so slobbish, and also
slothy,
and also insecure. You know, doctors, they think they're gods, right? Because especially if they save lives, or they change lives, or they fix lives, which all of them really do, but they think they're God. So they really, that ego part of them is super high, but that's not, I don't see that in Tony. So I'm just curious, like, what kind of doctor he is. Anyways.
I don't know. There's slobs in every profession. There's this one immigration attorney. He always shows up with like his pants don't quite fit and they're falling down. And he's like always like tripping when he's walking because his pants are too long. His papers are falling all over the place. The dude's like a cartoon. And somehow he still gets clients. It's the weirdest thing to watch in real life. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure you know what, you're probably right. I just haven't seen it. And that's why I just want to know. I like facts. And I want to know what kind of doctor is he? Because he just doesn't give me doctor vibes. Anyways, they're going to Maine to see Vanja's cousin and also celebrate her birthday, which falls on the 4th of July. And she's going a little bit earlier than Tony. Same day, just different flight. And it's Sanella and Marinko, which is her best friend slash cousin and her husband. They're going to stay there. And Vanya reminds me of Emma, where it's all about like being in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone, one wants to be engaged, that's all she cares about, and one just wants to be said. One wants to say that she was in a relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
that they're official, her words are, this is their first trip as a couple because she doesn't want to be known as the single woman anymore. She wants to be known as the woman that's in a relationship. And that's all that was important to her. Okay. So she goes to Sanella's salon and she's getting a touch up on permanent makeup. So she's getting her lips and eyebrows done. Have you ever done permanent makeup, Abby?
My eyebrows.
Yeah, me too. My eyebrows too. I love them. I've never done my lips though. It's like permanent color.
I would be afraid to do my lips. My sister had it done, and her lips for like 2 weeks afterwards were like this big. And then when the swelling went down, it wasn't really that much of a difference for me for it to be worth the pain.
I can't picture it because y'all, I change my mind daily, hourly. So like, am I stuck with one color? One color? Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, that you get to wake up with. Now, if you want to put like a lipstick on top of it, I'm sure you can, but like you have
Absolutely.
one color that you wake up with.
Nope. Because sometimes I don't want any makeup. Sometimes I just want a shiny lip like this. I want a little bit of gloss and no color. Actually, if you guys know me, I don't wear lipstick. I'll wear gloss and a little bit of it wouldn't work for me. No, absolutely not. Hey Gemini, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing all that. But what do you guys do in the live chat? Would you do permanent makeup, and if so, which would you do? I love my eyebrows though. I've had my eyebrows done because I don't have a lot of hair, like body wise, and that was so true of my eyebrows. And I always wanted defined eyebrows, you guys, and lashes. And those are the two things that I do: permanent lashes and then eyelash extensions. And I love both of them.
Yeah, honestly, like you have such healthy skin that you could get away with just the eyebrows
Yeah,
and it like it's enough of a face.
thank you. That's what I'm rocking with.
Yeah.
I was telling Abby two personal things I'm telling you guys. I was telling Abby I usually just have like natural lashes, so you guys wouldn't know that they're lash extensions. But this time I was like, I'm gonna go fancy. And the first day I was like, Abby, oh my God, look at myself. Like I couldn't stop looking at it because they seem so extra. But they've grown. You were right. Abby's like, just give it a minute. Give it a minute. And I love them now.
Yeah, because they look really great I mean, like if I was right in front of you, I could see better, but like definitely from the side in the video, they look really good.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. Gemini says I would do eyebrows, but nothing else, but nothing more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think eyebrows are worth it.
Yeah, they really are. Because you just wake up and you can go. You don't have to do filler. You don't have to do anything. You wash them.
The way I used to accidentally have my eyebrow on my fan because I did like that at some point during the day. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
So yeah, she's getting a touch up on her permanent makeup, and then Sanella's like, and also, have you had the celibacy talk with Tony? Abby, I totally forgot that was her path. I totally forgot about it. And so So Nella said, you want to make sure that your expectations match. And I agree, you guys. Be upfront about what you're looking for, what you want, communicate. All the things I talk about, the money, finances, savings, religion, babies, sex, all the things that I tell you are the 5 things. I think we're at 7 things now that you have to communicate about. If you're dating someone, they need to know that you're celibate until whenever you say you're not celibate, so that you're on the same page. And especially as women, tell them up front, because like I said, femicide is at an outrageous proportion right now. And these little men's fragile egos can't take rejection. So if they don't know, because you haven't communicated that you're going to be celibate, I don't want you to put yourself in a situation that is harmful or dangerous to you. Okay? They haven't had the talk yet. She's waiting on having the talk with him. But Sanella is a bit skeptical. So she says, listen, I'm going to have some questions, because you just told me about Tony taking you to dinner, dropping you off, and then going to another restaurant and another bar without you that same night. You just told me that, he had a marriage, but it only lasted 8 months. You just told me all these things. So I'm going to have some questions. And her cousin, Sanella, thinks that she can do way better, because this doesn't seem to be it. And sometimes, you guys, I think that our friends and our family tell us things that we don't necessarily want, because we think we're in love. But in this situation, she just wants to be a couple. So she's not really going to be receptive to this type of criticism. What do you think, Patty?
Yeah, I think that he's been trying for a while to be in a relationship. So she's not going to hear that Sanella saying that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Silver Lining says, no judgment in terms of hooking up on vacay. More power to her, but went from 0 to 90 after saying she was celibate. You forgot because she threw it out the window for the second guy she met on vacay. She sure did. She did that because she was also needing to feel validated as a woman, because the first guy rejected her and she thought she was taking her power back, but she was just being used. Tony arrives, and they're going to hang out on the back patio, have a couple cocktails. And this is when Tony finds out that Sanello and Marinko have been married for 19 years. And, asks what's the secret. He doesn't ask, of course not. Vanya asks what's the secret. And they say communication is key and apologies are key. And I agree with both of those things. Communication, apologies, and they were friends first. They always say marry your best friend. You want to marry your best friend. You want to marry someone that you want to spend time with, that you enjoy spending time with, because everything's not going to be all roses and unicorns and all of that. There are going to be hard times. And I dare say the day-to-day is harder than most of the stuff, right? Going on date night is easy. Yeah, that's the easy part. Hard part is living together. Hard part is chores and cleaning up and maintaining and bills. Hard is going outside to your job and the world and the craziness, and then coming back and having to still support the emotional part of your partnership. Hard is infidelities. Hard is lies. Hard is sexual dysfunction. Hard is adding children. Hard is raising children. Like, I can go on. So it's more hard than not, right? So you want to make sure that you're with someone that you enjoy being with, so that all the hard stuff you can do together and be each other's support and be each other's encouragement and be each other's love and be each other's best friends.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel I missed my calling. I think I could have been a therapist.
There's still time. There is still time. There's nothing missed. There is still time for everything. Go for it.
Girl, yesterday I said I missed my calling. I should have been a kindergarten teacher, because, kids love me.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. And
there's still time for that too. And listen, If all those people can go on Oprah and call themselves therapists, so can you. You don't need a degree.
No, I like facts, and I mean, my degree is not in therapy, so I don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm Dr. Linda. What kind of doctor are you? I don't know. I just made it up. Like Tony. What kind of doctor are you, Tony? So they're gonna make s'mores. Vanya and Mariko go off to get the equipment. Sanella is sitting there with Tony and immediately start grilling him about his intentions. Are you long-term, short-term? Is this just for fun? She's basically worried that he's a player. Brings up him going to the bar alone, his short-term marriage, also him having a girlfriend while talking to Vanya. And he's like, oh, I think you have your timeline wrong. Those things didn't happen in the time frame you're saying. Got all offended because he has a small ego, and you guys, I really want you to pay attention to this part because his little small ego got just a little bit bruised, and guess what? He got defensive. Now he wants to go. He wants to bail. He doesn't want to have any activities, any socializing. He wants to bail, and bail in a child tantrum type of bail, and does that. Vanya leaves with him, and now he feels insulted because of his little ego. He doesn't appreciate Sanella's line of questioning, so now he feels attacked. Attacked is the word he said. He felt attacked. Nowhere in there was he being attacked. That whole male ego, privilege, misogynistic, all of that. I have to stop myself, but all of that wrapped up into a ball of insecurity and a ball of testosterone or lack thereof is why we're in this situation. So he's completely shutting down. Vanya sees that he's completely shutting down. And I was like, but do you see why? It's because he wants to be a playboy. He wants to be like, ooh, I'm this macho doctor and all the women want me. But no one wants him. That's why his relationships fail, because he hasn't worked within himself to be a secure individual. If you want to say that you're a manly man, you got to do the work to be a manly man. And you have to start with your fragile ego. Anything that anyone says, because no one in your family obviously told you no. No one in your family obviously said, no, you're wrong. No one in your family said, hey, just like Pedro, this is not right. Now when someone, especially a woman, says this to you, you are all offended and you feel it. I feel attacked. Oh, shut up. Just stop it. Go work on yourself. Go and get a therapist and find out why your ego is so fragile. Abby?
He has no charisma, no riz, or no swagger, because even though her line of questions was really invasive, and side note, Sanella, you can ask different questions and get way more information from somebody than all these direct questions you're asking. We can talk about that later. Your FBI skills need to be upped. But anyone else that had some personality to him could have been like, okay, you asked a question, let me ask you a question, bounce back in the conversation. Oh, what kind of work do you do? What do you do in your free time? What brought you from Bosnia, whatever, or Albania? Get in there, Tony. Get in there. Be in the conversation. Don't just be like a scaredy cat. Come on, show us some. This man is a bump on a log. He has not shown us any personality whatsoever.
And why does he look like a slob? I don't know. I can't explain it to you guys, but I don't know if it's his posture. I don't know, but his hair, I don't know, sweating all the time. What's going on with you? I will say, no, I won't say that. I'll leave it to myself. What's going on with him? I think I know what it is, but I'll keep it to myself. That's all I have for them.
Yeah, that's all I have for them too. I mean, good luck, Vanya, with that.
Silver Lining says anyone can be a partner when you're laughing. It's the one that can be there when you're crying. Facts. Absolute facts.
even just when you want some attention, like I remember one time when I was married, I was cleaning up all day long. We're both home and I'm like cleaning all day. And then like towards the evening, I was like, we should spend some time together. We could, I don't know, I probably made some suggestions. I don't really remember exactly how I said it. And he was like, but we've been together all day. You mean all
Oh,
day when I was cleaning? Like just
oh,
because we were in the house together? Like those kind of things. Like people want to say that like, oh, infidelity makes marriage difficult, but those simple things like that, those also make marriage difficult.
100%. Hi, Vyast. Vyast thinks, I think Vanya is single for a reason.
I mean, she's single because most men suck. You're not going to turn this around and make it like Vanya is the problem because she's stuck in a relationship. The problem is that the quality of men out there is just not good.
Listen, it's trash in these streets. Trash. Trust me. I'm trying to find my one, and woof, it is a needle in a full stack of needles. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Y'all pray for me. Okay, Kimberly and Jamal.
I think that Larry has wonderful, extremely patient character. He clearly was loved a lot growing up for him to be so forgiving and kind, and good on him for having that kind of heart.
I agree with you 100%, Abby. You know what? I said this Larry guy is an excellent addition to the nonsense. Like he just comes in super solid, kind, forgiving, just but strong, but soft spoken, but strong, steady in his opinions, willing to say I love you, like all the things. Like whoever raised you, bravo. Bravo.
Hmm.
Bravo. So Kimberly and Jamal are meeting with Larry again, and just like we said, Larry's been very accepting and understanding of Kimberly, this whole situation, which, you know, I don't know it obviously, but I've seen the stories where, you know, adopted children it can go a totally different way. There could be a lot of resentment and hate and all of this, and Larry is just not embodying any of that. He's embodying love and acceptance and forgiveness, and it's actually wonderful to see. So Kimberly says that she want to hang out with her boys, and so that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna have a day hanging out. Larry is giving off definitely older brother vibes with Jamal, and you can see that those two have also connected. And you know, the conversation where it's nature versus nurture, you know, we don't have to have it right now, but I do think that there is a component of nature because they haven't known each other very long, but they're very connected. And sometimes hidden trauma or even trauma that you don't really know about, but there's something, you know, Kimberly lying for 34 years to Jamal is a hidden trauma and then gets plopped on, and now the trauma is open. I'm not saying he knew, but I'm just saying like trauma is trauma, and it comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. And the fact that Larry and Jamal have bonded so quickly is a testament to me that nature is nature. So they're going for a walk and talk, and it was having a cute moment. They're like, you know, we should really try to share some more brotherly love. Like we should race and play catch and all this stuff. And they do this little cute race. I wasn't sure who quite won. I think it was a tie, but definitely like broing out. What were your thoughts on that, Abby?
Neither one of them was putting their all into it.
To what, the race?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, what were your
But
overall thoughts on their relationship?
I think it's great that they're having a relationship as far as the nature versus nurture of it. I think that Larry seems, from what we've seen so far, to be in a much better place emotionally than Jamal, who was raised by their mother. I also thought it was really interesting, and I wonder if it just happened off camera, that Larry didn't come back with more questions. Like now you've had some time to sleep and digest this information, and he didn't come back with, well, what was going on with my dad that you got back together with him after two, adoptions, after two pregnancies that he didn't support you through? What was going on that made you keep Jamal after giving away two? Like he didn't come back with any more questions. He just came back with, it is what it is, and I accept you. And that's is that not miraculous to you? Because I would have had a ton, even if I'm gonna love her and forgive her, I still would have had a ton of questions.
Girl, anyone that knows me, Abby, there absolutely no way that I wouldn't have questions. There's just not. There's just not. I have all the questions. That's why journalism was up in my alley, because I have all the questions all the time. So absolutely not. I would not only have slept on it, we would still be talking and I would still have questions. And I probably would prepare my questions just like I prepare my notes, because I need to know all the things. I can be giving and understanding after I know the facts. What's my daddy's name? Where is he? Are you still in contact with him? When was he born? Where was he born? Do I have uncles? Does he have brothers and sisters? How long were you guys together? Like, that's just off the top of my head. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I absolutely would have questions. Anyways, Larry's glad that there are no more secrets, and then he says, "So she says," right? Because you keep popping up with new things. No more, but maybe next week there will be. I don't know. And then they see these really cute seals, and I had a chuckle because Kimberly says that the seals are her favorite animals because they're loud and fat, just like her. One thing about Kimberly that I think is endearing is that she is real with herself, and I like that. So we find out that Kim wants to find her biological daughter now, which is a big thing because it was a close adoption. And so it's going to be up to the adoption agency, even if it still exists to this day, right? To reach out to her daughter to see if her daughter even wants to have a relationship or meet her or such thing. Kimberly recognizes that her daughter might be angry and want nothing to do with her. Her daughter, like, who knows? She named her daughter Jennifer. That was her contribution to her life, but doesn't know if that's the name that she kept or not, because, it's up to the adopted parents. That all being said, Kim wants Jamal and Larry to come on that journey with her. What are your thoughts about that, Abby?
Okay, so I want to say something about adoption first. And this is giving me grief, so I think I'm off. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so first of all, when you have a legal adoption, a lot of people don't realize that means the birth certificate issued to the child that has your name on it, it gets trashed. They get issued a new birth certificate. That's the way they do it in the US. The new birth certificate is going to have the name of their adoptive parents on it and the name that they choose to give to that child. So they can choose to keep Jennifer and their last name, or they can choose a whole different last name. And I think that I just want to say that because sometimes people don't realize.
I didn't know that.
Sometimes people don't realize how severe adoption is. It severs the legal connection between you and that child. It means that if something was to happen to you and you have an estate to pass on, that child has no rights or stake in that estate because you have no legal connection to them and they have no legal connection to you. And that's the reason why, like, when I was a foster parent, I was not an adoptive home, because I would rather support parents who want to be reunified with their child. And I think that the parents who become foster to adopt homes,
I think they're a little bit too eager for the parents to fail their parenting plan because they want adoption ultimately. I think we need to just have foster homes, not adopt. But that's a whole different topic. I just want to emphasize how severe adoption is. As far as how the daughter might feel, I've seen so many extremes. Like, I was on adoption talk on TikTok for a long time because I made a couple of videos about being a foster parent. And there are a lot of adoptees out there who don't wish that they were born. There are, Larry just saying, "Oh, I'm glad that I had life," is rare. There are many, many more who, even if they didn't grow up in abuse or traumatic circumstances that happen like with the adoptive family, the adoption itself, the separation itself is traumatic enough that they simply wish that they didn't exist. So there's no telling, but the fact that she is the age that she is, that she has not done any kind of DNA testing, that Larry, when he was finding out his family members, didn't find any connection to her genetically. And remember, that's a full-blooded sister. That's not a half sister. I don't think she wants to be found. Or the worst might be true, that something happened to her in her childhood and she's not here anymore.
Yep. Which is something that Kim mentioned as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I once dated a guy that was adopted, and he had a lot of identity issues, and it made the relationship very difficult.
That's a story like you hear over and over and over again. Adoption is so traumatic that even the most loving of parents, if you just go into the hashtag adoption talk, and even the most loving of parents who support their kids in every way that you can think of will still have trouble, still have identity issues, still have issues with confidence and self-esteem because of adoption. And that's the reason why, another little side rant, that's the reason why adoption does not replace abortion. So it's just when you listen, don't listen to the ideology behind how good adoption is. You're giving somebody life. Listen to the people who are actually talking about their lived experiences being adopted.
I think we could have a whole talk on this. We have a whole, and maybe we will, and bring some experts in, because I feel like this is something that we could really talk about, and especially in these times, I want to talk about more women issues and bring them forefront, since
that would be a really good one.
I think so too. So Kimberly wants to make peace with her past, and she feels like if she does that, she'll be able to find love and happiness, which is what she's been looking for her whole life. And I thought that was a very interesting thought, because if you think about it, you guys, everything is full circle. If you are keeping these lies for year on and year out, year on and year out, and you're deep into not being your true authentic self because you're lying, then how do you think you're going to find a true authentic partner? So I think that her coming to her own truth will help in her search for a true love and not being in these toxic, abusive type relationships, not having a fear of, bringing life in and keeping life and all of that stuff, like all the things. It's full circle, and it's really like, you don't have to be a product of your environment, and you can overcome everything and anything. But in order to overcome anything, trauma, being the underdog, whatever, you have to admit it and work through it. You can't just ignore it or lie about it and think that time is going to heal all wounds. I know that people say that. It's not true. You have to do the work. You have to acknowledge it. You can't just, like Abby said, go in a room for 30 minutes and come back and think it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So would I be surprised if Kimberly found love now that she's working through her lies and trauma, I wouldn't be surprised, because guess what? She's doing the work now. And her authentic self is showing up now. And that's what we all want. We all want our authentic selves to be loved by someone else's authentic self. And that's why I don't want you guys to settle for the low hanging fruit, because these men out here that are running amok with low egos and sensitive egos and misogynistic ways and this red pill incel mentality, they're running amok, and they're crashing out, and they're crashing out on the best beautiful women that are out there, doctors and lawyers and entrepreneurs and beauty experts and influencers. I can go on and on and on. Just amazing women in their own right, and they're crashing out. And I will say one last thing, this last crash out with all the babies, I just want us to pray. I will pray. You do whatever you want to do and whatever you believe in, but I will be praying for the men in the world, because the women and children are the ones that are being affected, and it is sad to see. That's all I have. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What do you got, Abby?
That's it.
All right. Well, we will be back, you guys. We're loving the interactions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on social media. We'll see you again this week shortly. Like and subscribe, and tell a friend and tell a friend. Toodaloo.
Thank you.
Toodaloo, Kimanu.